Kyle Yeomans alongside COO Stephen Jones joining us from the Cowboys War Room here at the Star in Frisco. First off, Stephen, thanks for joining us as always. Secondly, it's the final 3 weeks of the year. It's been a crazy 2020 season, but whenever you look into these final three games of the year, how important are they to evaluating your football team?
Well, it's a big 3 weeks for us, not only from an evaluation standpoint, but from a momentum standpoint for this team. Obviously, we're still in it mathematically in the NFC East, and our intention is to go out and win these 3 games. We want to get better each and every week. I think we're doing that, and it would be a big boost for our staff, for our players, for the organization to go out and not only play well, but win these games. And certainly we're going to get a great opportunity, as we did last week, to look at some young players. I think our first 2 practice squad players started the game, and we ended up with our second 2 practice squad players, a total of 4 of them playing corner for us in that game. And, hats off to the defense, how they rose to the challenge and played well. I thought our corners did a really nice job. We'll be getting healthy there again. We'll be getting Diggs back here. He's got a great opportunity to play this weekend. And certainly Anthony Brown and Cheeto will be back, so it'd be great to see them. But as you mentioned, it's going to be a great opportunity too, because some of these offensive linemen aren't coming back. Tyler Biotis should jump back in the mix. He'll start to get some play time again, and hopefully, compete with Joe Looney right there. And then certainly having Terrence Steele and Knight out there until Zach gets back. Hopefully they'll continue to develop as well. And then you got the obvious ones like, CeeDee Lamb and Gallimore that are working in. And then even our young guy Robinson from Tulsa should start to get some reps on special teams and maybe get some defensive snaps.
Now, you mentioned the defense, and of course it's been a crazy year defensively trying to fill the void at the cornerback spot. But what's one thing that you haven't seen from the defense this season that you want to see or need to see in the final 3 weeks of the year?
I think the big thing is obvious. I mean, we just haven't done a great job of stopping the run this year. And I think if we can, continue to execute, to really get our hands around what we're doing from a scheme standpoint, which I think our players are. They played really well in the game. They created turnovers, which is certainly a staple that Mike wants this defense to have, both Mikes, if you will, Coach McCarthy and Coach Nolan. It was great to see those turnovers happen. But the big thing, we're certainly wanting to see is we get more consistent with stopping the run. When, we got up on Cincinnati and they had to throw it, I thought we did a nice job of, in the passing game on the defensive side of the ball. So be interesting to see down the home stretch here how, that the defense can step up and continue to get better and certainly play a part in hopefully getting 3 wins.
Now, are there any of those specific young guys, I know you mentioned a bunch of them like Reggie Robinson, Tyler Biotis, that you want to see more of moving forward, not even just the final 3 games of the year, but even into the offseason?
Well, all these young guys are, it's all in front of them. And, players take big steps in not only toward the end of the year, but the offseason. Tristan Hill's one of those guys, who a lot of people had concerns about after his first year with the Cowboys and certainly was having a great year before he got hurt. He's a guy that we'll want to see in the offseason, step up and, take over where he left off. And he's excited to get back in the mix. Certainly we have several young guys, several guys coming off the injured reserve. But, all these young guys that I mentioned, it'll be a big offseason for them. But bigger yet is to, see Diggs, to see Gallimore, to see CeeDee Lamb finish strong. See a Biotis, see a Robinson step up. The other thing I really thought our other Robinson at corner really had a nice game. He was very competitive. We had good grades on him coming out of college, and he's got a high level of compete in him, and certainly it'd be great. It's going to be great to watch him play these final 3 games as well.
You keep mentioning Tyler Biotis. That's a name that continues to come up. And, of course, he was at the starting center spot earlier in the year, and then because of the injury, Joe Looney took that spot back over. But is Tyler Biotis your future at center? Is he the guy that's going to start there moving forward in the next couple of years?
Well, obviously that's what we drafted him for. He's a great player there at Wisconsin. Comes from the same school as Travis Frederick. has a lot of the same qualities. Very smart, very competitive, and certainly, he had won that spot from Joe. I know Joe's not going to give it up easily again, but Tyler is a guy who we think can be our future there. Obviously, we have the two Connors, that are going to be in there. Hopefully, Zach Martin next year gets to kick back down to guard. But, it'll be interesting when we get Zach back. I'm sure we'll put him right back out there at tackle. For right now, I think he gives us the best opportunity to win with the two Connors there at guard.
And with him coming back from injury, he's not alone. You mentioned that Trayvon Diggs is on his way back as well. How quickly do you expect him to see game action, and how much of a role will he play?
Well, I think we'll see him as early as this week. If things go as planned against the 49ers, I think he's got he's done a great job in his rehab. He probably won't get the full load. We might limit him to the nickel. We'll just see how he finishes off the week in practice. And then certainly we want to be careful with it. We don't want to have any steps back with him. He's got just such a bright future. He's everything you want in a corner. He's competitive. He's got great ball skills. He's got great length. And I think he's going to be a great one for the Cowboys.
And back there as well, his safety partner in Donovan Wilson kind of battling back from an injury. What's an update on Donovan Wilson and what he's brought to the table this year as well?
He's coming back as well this week. As long as there's no setbacks, we expect him hopefully to step right in and take over right where he left off. He was doing such a great job for us. One of the staples, as I said, for Coach McCarthy and Coach Nolan is turnovers. He was doing a great job of that, really making plays on the ball, knocking that ball loose, getting it out, getting his share of the fumbles as well. So it'll be great to have him in the mix, and barring any setbacks before the 49er game, he should step right in where he left off.
And that's one of the positions that, as a franchise, you guys have been looking for quite some time, a hard-hitting safety. Do you think you've found the right guy in Donovan Wilson?
Boy, he sure seems to be stepping up, and he's certainly not spitting the bit. I've said it time and time again. It just seems like when there's a safety there seems to be, a better player at another position. So our resources that we've spent at the safety position, as we all know, whether it's draft picks or money, have been at the low end of the totem pole. But certainly Dono and Xavier are draft picks of ours, albeit later, that we want to step up here down the home stretch and hopefully be some young guys who can play safety back there for years to come.
When you have so many young pieces stepping up, like the rookie class from 2020, even some of those 2019 prospects in Hill and Wilson that you kind of talked about a moment ago, how satisfying is that from a front office standpoint, looking at some of these young guys and saying, hey, we've got a bright future?
Well, it's going to be critical that these young guys step up, and that is one thing that's been a plus in terms of the injuries that we've been faced with, is to have young players step up. Offensive line, corner, defensive line, because with the virus, it's certainly going to affect the salary cap. And the players, have certainly participated with all 32 teams in terms of, the success we've had as a league. And we all know with not being able to have stadiums at full capacity, some of them empty, that's going to change the economics, and the players, are a part of that as well. So I'm sure we're going to have a tight cap situation. We don't know that for sure yet, but as that tightens up, the need to have your young players step up will be huge for us. And certainly we all know we have Dak out there that we want to get a long-term contract with. We certainly have some, high-priced players, although they deserve it, some high-priced players on our roster right now.
And with all those high-priced players, you have to fill some other spots. And as it sits right now, what is a position of need that you're looking to evaluate and looking to add to going into 2021?
Well, when you look at our football team, I think, it obviously jumps out at you this year. It's, on defense. And certainly as we move forward, we'll be looking, to help that defense. And at the same time, though, that's how you get yourself in trouble sometimes if you get too laser focused. And there's a great player sitting there, a la C.D. Lamb. Last year, we were thinking we were going to take a defensive player there with that first pick, but C.D. Lamb was too good to pass up. And as you know, we're certainly glad we made that pick.
And, of course, one of those early draft picks a couple years ago, Ezekiel Elliott, he's been on the injury report the last couple of weeks, out again at practice today. What do you expect from Zeke moving forward, and is there a real concern that he's not available toward the backstretch of this season?
Well, Zeke's, he's a competitor, and he's so tough. And In this league, the great players play when they're not 100%, and he certainly makes no excuses. But if I'm a betting guy, you bet on Zeke. He wants to be there for this team. He wants to be out there competing and help us take the next step as a team. He knows how important these next 3 games. It all starts with San Francisco, one game at a time. But my bet is that he'll figure out a way to get out there and play.
And, of course, going up against the 49ers this week, it's a long-standing rivalry between the Cowboys and 49ers. But what does it mean to have a rivalry like that in the NFC that you can go to every couple of years?
Well, obviously, the great 49er-Cowboy games go back to, unfortunately, the great Dwight Clark catch. Certainly, we had some successes. Then, the Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin matchup. We had that one year that kept us out of the Super Bowl. It would have been 4 in a row, going to 4 Super Bowls in a row had we been able to pull that one off. Certainly we've had our wins there, winning our first as an ownership group, and Coach Johnson's first Super Bowl appearance was, upsetting the 49ers there in San Francisco. So it's a great rivalry, great organization, owned by a great family, the DeBartolos and Yorks. We think so much of them and what they've done there with the 49ers. They got a beautiful new stadium there, although they'll be coming to see us. So it is great to have a rivalry like that, and I think our fans, it's been one of our hottest games in terms of our fans wanting to come out and watch the 49ers play the Cowboys.
And for good reason. I mean, they were NFC champions a year ago, but what's the biggest challenge that they present this week?
Well, their defense is tough. I mean, they get after it on the defensive side of the ball. They have some great defensive players over there, so it'll be a challenge to us. Certainly, they're a little hamstrung like we are. They're missing their starting quarterback, so that's a challenge for them. But as usual, it'll be a competitive atmosphere out there.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.